Okay, before you go on to the gluing process, you will definitely want to take apart your cube so that you can get rid of all the sawdust. Why I do this is because you do not want sawdust in between your glue layer. So I usually use epoxy glue, but I figured that was a bit frustrating, so I end up just using super glue. So yeah, you wanna remove this, shake all the dust off the pieces, and yeah, remove. Basically, you won't be needing these pieces for now. All you'll be needing is the core, and the core is where you want to rub off all the dust. I would recommend using a brush to do this, to get the inner parts, and it's really simple. Just get rid of all the dust. That's it. I'll do the same to this cube, so watch out for the next part. Okay, this part is probably one of the more important parts because it contains the gluing process. As I said in the previous part, or I probably didn't say, I probably cut it out. The gluing process is the most important part because if you do not glue it right, your fuse cube will look weird, and therefore your evil twin will look weird too. So if you want a flat surfaced evil twin, you will definitely want to glue this part right, and you want to glue this part really stiff as well. You do not want it to be you do not want it to not stay. You do not want your evil twin to fall apart after a year or so. So what you want to do is, instead of using a brush, I do not use a brush to apply my super glue. I do not apply a super glue straight because it wouldn't make it balance. So first I identify the parts where I want to glue. These are the parts where you want to glue, these parts. So I just use a marker and I just put a dot on where I want to glue, where the glue surfaces are, so I keep in mind where I'm going to glue. Okay, so this is the first part. Next part, the reason why I did not assemble my cube and do it the way Monkey Dude did is because if you do that, the edges on one side, let's say I put an edge here, an edge piece here, it will tend to push this piece. You see how it's not even anymore? This part will slant down, and that is why that will cause a lot of unevenness, where you see your cube ain't flat anymore. It's not flat, and so that's a big problem. Unless you're gonna push it real tight together and clamp it, which I don't really like doing that. I just prefer to leave it like this. You see, it's perfect like this if I just stick it together, because all the springs are perfectly tight. They're all of even length, and this is perfect. So they stick together really well like this. So yeah, the way I do it, it's somewhat different. It'll be very different actually, compared to many other ways they do it. So just hear me out. Anyway, so you definitely want to get the color scheme right. So Dianxing on top, orange on the side, red on the other side. So if this is the right way, you just leave it like this. And make sure that all your pieces, the tree cut pieces, are in the same cycle, in the same area, in the same corner. So get that right. And next, you want to cut out plastic from any one of your, I don't know, I bought Dianxing cubes, so I have Dianxing plastic, but I'm not using Dianxing plastic now. I'm just using some of my old plastic that I have, and cut out a strip. This is for the super glue. This is for the super glue. Yeah, so I use this instead of a brush because it's easy to get, because you buy cubes. If you're a cuber and you want to make this mod, you probably already bought a few cubes. probably have some plastic lying around. So, I mean, recycle. I just use this to, instead of ruining my brush. So, this is what I do to apply glue. And I use this also as a tray, so I can actually put the epoxy in, but I'm not using epoxy now, so I'll just apply it straight on here. The tip is to get it on one side of the cube and use the other one to match up. Do not apply it on both faces because you will overflow with glue, but it doesn't really matter because you don't have other pieces around it. So anyway, I just do it. So first part, of course, is to open your super glue. Obviously, I've never used super glue before in all of my mods. I always use epoxy. I'm probably gonna get more epoxy because I ran out of epoxy glue. Anyways, here it goes. Just put a little bit on the dot, spread it out. Do it on other parts of the cube. And then immediately make sure your color scheme is right and put it together. So there. This is how it should look like if you glued it right.